can be heard clearly on the other side?
Dear doctor.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Ainul, for that verification. So I think we just continue. I do believe that the rest will join later on, maybe in the middle. Okay. Then at least they may able to ask a few questions because most probably that this will be the last lecture. Next week there will be a quiz during the lecture period. You need to answer the quiz within 2 hours, 8 to 10 or something like that. Everything will be online, but need to be done during that period. So remember, I still hide the quiz in the ITELs, but you can see over there that it will be held around 7, 8 to 10 or something like that. So for today, I think this is just an oral lecture sharing on how to make an oral presentation, which is actually something that a bit not easy to do, even for whoever, irrespective of the language that you are using, whether you use your native language or your second language. The oral presentation will be always difficult because it will involve a lot of things unless you practice at home your presentation, and then after that you do the presentation, then it will be much better. So practice will make you a better presenter. But sometimes it depends also because when you do it physically, it will be a little bit challenging. You will see there will be quite many people in the audience, and sometimes you get a little bit like self-conscious, and because of that, you may start to present the things improperly. So that is a challenge in oral presentations. I went to many different countries, and it is always a difficult one. Most of the good presenters that you watch maybe online, they are actually practice it many times, rehearsal maybe quite many times. They prepare even the sentences, and they just sometimes they memorize it, and but after sometimes memorizing it, they can repeat it naturally. So that is a challenge in making an oral presentation. It is not easy because we always self-conscious. And today I will say a little bit things that we can use as tips in order for us to improve our oral presentation. And for sure that you need to do an oral presentation starting next week. Uh, I start with completed research presentation because that one will be easier. You only need to find a journal, and then you use the information in the journal in your presentation. Then the following week will be the presentation of your supposed to be a research proposal. And now that one will be a little bit difficult because it should be a presentation original from your own ideas. And of course, there will be no template for you to use, except that you learn it from some of the slide that I will share in this lecture. But most of the things that you write on the slide will be originally from your own ideas, except for some other things that you refer from the published journal, maybe in the introduction or in the literature review of your research. When you do the presentation, of course, you will cite some information from published articles. So for today, here are things that we can use on a guidance. So I put there clearly we learn and practice them together. I am still also learning sometimes to do the presentation. There are so many things happening around. I mean, throughout my daily life, and sometimes it will also affect the way I do the presentation, especially then when I am busy. There are so many things also in my mind, so that's why sometimes the presentation is not so smooth. But that is what I said as a challenge in ourselves when we do the presentations. So usually we talk to the audience. That is the most important things. Okay. So when you do the presentation, it's easier actually to do the presentation online because then you only need to look at the screen and uh, everyone on the same platform can see you, and you don't really feel the pressure in doing your presentation. But when you do it physically, sometimes quite many times also you may tend to look at the screen rather than you look at the audience. Okay, so you have to look at the audience and look at the screen only when you want to see the topics that you want to discuss during your presentation. So that is the thing that you need to do. You talk to the audience, not talking to the screen when you do the physical presentation. But of course, when you do the online presentation, you are almost like talking to the screen. Okay, so be sure you know your audience, the student, professional, and tune your talk to match the expectation. So of course, when we do the lecture, then I am talking to you as a student, but you as a student, but of course also at the same time I expect that you you all are almost semi-professional because this is a tertiary education level. So of course, for sure that you need to be expected to have certain quality at the minimum, very close to the professional lives. Okay, and then you engage the audience, eye contact, question to ponder, deliver what they want to hear, and then deliver what you have promised to share with them. So if you use video talk and look at the video camera lens, but I did not switch on my camera for today because actually I am doing this lecture along the road. So that's the reality that happening nowadays. But never mind. The most important is you do your presentation next week, and we will do it online. Because nowadays also there are so many conferences we do it online, so maybe this is the a new way of doing the presentation. Last time I did this presentation for the student physically. Student need to be present in the class and need to be look so smart or so beautiful. But this time we will do it online, so it's a little bit relaxed for you. The only things that will happen in Malaysia quite commonly, you will not get so much question, so that will add a little bit more apa tuh, comfortable for us to do the presentation because not so many people will ask us questions. And of course, less is more. If we say too much, then your audience will get lost. And then if you say too little, your audience will get angry. Okay. You say too much means you assume that the audience is not knowledgeable, and that's why you talk too much. And because when you talk too much, they will get lost because there are so many unuseful words between the points. But when you say too little, the audience will also get angry because you disrespect them. For audience, the time is very important. And when the time is very important, you need to talk to them straightforward and direct, but still polite, but direct to the point. Let them know what you are going to tell them. So less means around those two situations. So it is not really in the middle, but around those two things. If you need to say a little bit more because you want to explain the things to your audience, then of course you need to say a little bit more words. Okay. But then some things you may only need to mention the point because it can be understood uh, clearly. So talk only when you have something to say. Okay, wise persons speak when they have something to say. Fools speak because they have to say something. Okay, so that means you really need to do the presentation because you have some points to share with the audience, not because you are needed to do it. Of course, next week don't think I mean don't take that the presentation is because I ask you to do the presentation. Take the presentation, the next week presentation, as a platform for you to share something from a journal that you really like, and there are so many points in that journal that you would like to share with your friends and also to me. Of course, the journal that you will read, you will use, may also not read by me. Okay? Maybe it is a new journal. There are always new journals around this world, and not all of them, okay, have read by me. So I am always actually interested also to listen to your sharing next week about new things, especially in the field that you are interested to do for your final year project. Okay. So just to mention some things on the screen on the second point. Okay, when you speak to add many more information, the same thing you are full means you are adding and add information, but actually the information is already understood clearly by the audience. So when you speak to change the understanding of your audience about the topic, you are wise. So well, next week I expect that you all uh, will speak to change the understanding of me and also your friend who will join the presentations. So this is tips number 4, make the take-home message persistence. So to speak well, express yourself like the common people, but think like a wise man. Okay, so strive to be direct and clear but polite in your speech. So you just express the points that you want the audience to understand. That's the meaning of that sentence. So you use your own words. It is not so wise that if you try to memorize the sentences from the journal that you use as a basis to do your completed research presentations. So it's better that you just express it according to the way that you understand it. So that is the best way to improve actually your presentations. And then of course you need to be logical. So it is actually easier to do next week because the logical sequence of presentation of scientific article will be starting from the title and who are you, and then after that you will talk. You will introduce the article, and then of course within that introduction you will talk about the problem and the motivation behind of the research and why it is important to be that to be done, and then why what is the hypothesis, and then after that the objective of your research, and you continue to the methodology, and then you continue to the result and discussion, and after that you will mention the conclusion. So that is the logical sequence in presenting your research, completed research, also your research proposal. But of course, in the research proposal, you will end the presentation only up to the expected result. And after that, you will open to the audience on Q&A or question and answer. Okay. So of course, you need to treat the flow as a stage. This one, if you are doing the presentation physically, but if it is online, then of course it is a little bit easier. You just need to talk to the audience, entertain them with new information, but you need to control it. Don't overdo it, because if you joke too much online, then the audience also will lose what is actually the message that you are trying to convey to them. So you must know what is the limit of your entertainment during your presentations. And then of course you need to practice and time your presentation, because next week the presentation will be limited to 10 minutes and 5 minutes maybe Q&A. And that means that you will have only about 15 minutes, and because of that very limited time, you need to practice your presentation. If you cannot finish your presentation in 10 minutes, I may just go to the Q&A, and then after that I will just move to the next student. So, but I will politely ask you to stop the presentation. But then, of course, if you cannot finish the presentation in 10 minutes, that means also that your mark will be very low. So you have to practice and time your presentation, that you need to mention quite many information in very limited time. Of course, also you can finish it a presentation in 10 minutes. But if you present it poorly, also even if you finish it 10 minutes, your mark will still also very low. So you need to understand that within of that 10 minutes, you really need to convey the message that you want the audience to understand. And then you stick to what you practice. Some people, they practice, and then they comply the time limits. But then during the presentation, the actual presentation, they drag themselves, drag, and then there are so many things that they will say, and because of that, they exceed the 10 minutes before they can actually really finish their presentation. So of course you need to use visual things like tables, graphs, photos, but you need to limit actually the numbers of tables and graphs that you will use in your presentations. You cannot just put everything in the presentation. So when you do the presentation, you really need to think the most important information that you want to convey to the audience. Okay? And then of course you review a video of your presentation. Sometimes one way also for you to check whether you did the presentation very well is by doing the presentation yourself, and then you record it maybe using your handphone within about 10 minutes, and then you watch your own presentation. So this is like you are evaluating yourself, and from there you can see where is the weakness of your presentation, and then you can then of course because of that you can do the corrections. You can also repeat the presentation and record it, and then you check it again, and of course you will do it repeatedly until you are satisfied with your own presentations. So tips number 10, you provide appropriate acknowledgement. Of course, in your presentation, you need to put also the citations of some sentences that you get from other authors or other researchers. That is what we mean by you provide the acknowledgement. And of course, at the end of your presentation, you need to list down the references, okay, that you have cited in your presentation. You only need to list those that you cite in your presentation. Of course, in your actual writing, there will be many, okay? There will be many references that you use. But then for presentation, you only need to list down those that you cite in the slide. Okay? Sometimes some student, they just put references on the last slide, but those references are not cited actually in the slide. So I can say that that is just a wasting of space, and also actually not so helpful to the audience, because then we will look at a very long list of references, but we don't know actually where did you use those references in your presentation. Of course, audience is very diverse, so not the same. So meeting their needs is difficult. So we cannot satisfy the audience 100%. Some of them may like you to explain a little bit more on something. Some maybe they don't need you to speak too much on the things. And some may also have a similar background with you. I mean, educational background, and then that's why they can understand you easily. But then some may have a different educational background, although they are also scientists. They are just interested a little bit in your title, and also maybe because it's appear that I mean, when you uh, do the, like what we call as a promoting the presentations, some may interested because of the some keywords that they saw on the titles, but they have a totally different educational background. So not so easy for them to actually to understand the presentation, and also not easy for you to make them understand. So this is actually also the challenge. Of course, in our program, I do believe that we have more or less similar interests within of the same field, like vegetable, seed, hydroponic, or some biochemistry, some other like medicinal plants. Of course, all these are topics that within of the uh, interest in our program. So in that case, quite many of those lecturers and also your friends will also read things around that kind of topics. So it's not so expected, not so difficult for you to do the presentations. So let's go to some examples. Of the first example here is the research proposal. So you see the following slide on Isabella graph. I think I have used this slide quite many times in my presentation. For the simple reason that if I repeat using the same slide, it will be easier for you to remember actually how the slide being prepared. So it's easier for you to prepare your own slide. So here is the title of the presentation. Then of course you can see that there is a title of the presentation, my name and another co-author, and of course the appellations. So if in any case that you are having times during the semester break, you can also visit his farm in Tamparuli. He is promoting his grapes at the moment also. It is a fruiting season from December to January, so you always have a time to visit his place if you want. So when you start your presentation, of course, you are talking about introductions. So this morning I will explain on how to do it, but I am not presenting this presentation, but your first slide will be about introduction. And if you look at the slide, you can see information over there. But my point actually in this slide is just to mention to you that it is important to establish a grave farming in Malaysia. I mean, to establish the industry locally, because now we are importing it, and the amount of import is about 334 millions. It can be more than that at the moment, but it is around that value. Okay, so that is the main purpose of presenting the first slide of your scientific presentation. The message is actually why we want to do this research on grape, something like that. So that is the point of this first slide. So in your own presentation also, you need to start with that one. If your research is about rice, then of course we want to know, okay, why I need to be there as an audience, and why I need to listen to your presentation, something like that actually. So the reason why is because we have this kind of problem. So it will attract me. Yes, okay, then now I agree with you. But you cannot just simply do some research or you present something that there is no really issue at all. And in that case, then as an audience, I think that I am wasting my time sitting there and listen to your presentation because there is no issue. So here there is something, okay, that you need to attract the audience, okay, to understand that there is a problem in our country related to this one. And the problem is we import grapes into the country, and we spend, or we sending out 334 millions of our money to others. Okay, means we are sending it to Australia, we are sending it to Australia, we are sending it to New Zealand, or we are sending it to South Africa. Because when I survey the markets, I can see that many of the grapes come from Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, and once in a while we got it from Korea, and once in a while also we got it from Philippines. But that means we are sending the money out. So we must establish the industry in order for us to spin the local economy. Okay, so that is the reason that we need to do this research. Okay, so that is the purpose of this slide. And then of course you need to expand more the information. Okay, so these are some of the information that, okay, so we need to encourage more people. So this is the message of this second slide. And then of course you need to ensure that your presentation is attractive. So of course picture is very important to attract audience. And of course sometimes I put human over there because then you can see the connection between you and the picture. So this is actually the reason that I put that picture like that. Okay, they are grapes, and then after that they are human. I can simply actually put like this. But then this one is just a picture. You cannot really see the connection. Okay. So I put it with human over there, the people over there. Then that means that you can feel also that if you visit this place or grapes are very close to you. But of course, there is also a reason that I put in this way. Because the first slide is about the garden. Okay, so if we talk about garden, there will be plants and human. So that's why the picture is correct. But here I am talking about a variety of grapes. So if I talk about the variety of grapes, I should only put the picture of the grapes. If I use this one to tell about the variety of grapes, it will distract you because there will be a tendency that you look at the people in the picture rather than you are looking at the grapes. But here you are looking at the grapes. You are not looking at any other things because I am talking about a variety of grapes called glassa. So in your own presentation later on, you have to think about this one. So presentation is not just simply a things that you just put over there and then you hope the audience will understand you. There is a reason behind of it. So now on this slide, I'm talking about that place. So I put grapes and also human. Here I'm talking about that variety. So I only put the picture of the variety. Another also, okay, this is a very beautiful grapes, and also of course the name also very beautiful. Okay, Vanessa. And also because I am introducing the variety, so I only show the picture. Then of course we have this one also. I planted in Sandakan last time. There are quite many of them. I planted quite many actually in Sandakan last time, but all gone after. I was actually working in KK for already like 5 years, so I don't have time to look after all the grapes in our APL Ladang, so all of them are gone. Okay, so that is a few things that I put on the slide for the audience to get the information about the plants that I am studying and the plants that I would like to share in the presentations. So this is the way of presenting. Preparing a slide. There are many slides, but of course, in the actual presentation, I will speak very fast, and I can finish it within about 10 minutes. I still can finish it, although there are so many of them. Okay. So of course, I need also to prepare this kind of slide to let you to understand, to let the audience understand the actual constraints in Malaysia. And then we have a variety selection problem. We have a high cost production, a limited knowledge and skill. There are not so many people who knows how to prune or how to apply fertilizer to the grapes, and also not so many people also they know how to look after the fruits. Okay, so because of very limited research. So I put also this slide. So if you really look at the sequence, here is the problem in general. And then now I bring you to understand the things a little bit more specific. Okay. So some step to encourage more interest. Okay. So research for robust variety means we are looking for the good variety. So this is the purpose of this slide. So if we start from the beginning, okay, you have the title, you have your name over there, and also your appellation, and then introducing the industry, Okay, what is the problem causes by grape industry? So we are sending out money. Okay, so because we import it. So that is actually the message over here. So that also actually tell you why it is important to do research on grape industry. And then of course I share with you a little bit of information more. Need to encourage more people. Okay. So this is the sequence of the slide. And then introducing grapes. And then okay, I bring you more deeper into the problem. Then I offer you some way of solving the problem. And then in this slide, now I present the study. Okay. So what is actually the research that I would like you as an audience to understand. So this is the sequence of the slide. Okay. Then of course I need to be clear on what set of experiment to answer this question. Okay. So the top part is, can the grapes be planted outside the greenhouse to serve as an ornamental and fruit-bearing plants? Okay, because whenever we talk that we can plant grapes in tropical environment, there are quite many people very skeptical. They are very skeptical of that statement. So they don't believe it. So that's why we do this experiment to prove that we can actually plant it very well. So if you look at the objectives to assess the potential, it can be also expressed as a question. So can this variety be planted outside? And then the objective say to assess the potential of that grape outside the greenhouse. Okay. So there is a connection over there. And of course, you need to list down a few questions. So those questions are actually guiding you in doing your presentation later on. Okay. So one indicator that you are wise is you can come out with question. If you are not able to come out with any question in your research, then you will have a problem. Now you know that you are not yet wise, so not yet intelligent. Okay, so if you are sitting in APL for 3 years and you don't have any curiosity about your life, about your education, about your future, or what sort of things that you want to do, I remind you that you may living a very difficult life after graduation. So you better ask yourself, not only asking yourself about your life, your presentation, but also asking yourself about your life. Okay. So when we do research also, you are being guided by this, all these questions are actually the curiosity that you have. Okay. Is there potential to grow vigorously? Okay. Or the grapes will just barely survive. It may grow, but not very well because of the climatic problem. Okay, or because of the climatic differences between tropical and temperate countries. Okay, so it may survive, but not growing very well. So we need to understand that kind of situation in agriculture. Yeah, somebody may say, "Oh, I can grow it here," but it may not growing well to productivity. So is there potential to fruit well because we bring it from temperate country? It may grow, but it may not fruit. So there is no future for us to develop grape industry locally. If that is the case, So that's why you need to guide yourself. So these are question that you need to put on your slide, so that then your audience, okay, can see what sort of things that they will get from your presentation. Okay? Then of course you jump into the methodology. I put some of that picture so that then it's easy for you as an audience to see. Okay. From there also, actually, I can explain it to you. We prepare the cuttings, and then we plant it in the poly bag, and then it grow very well in the pots, and then later on it bear fruits. Okay. So if you look at the pots, actually it is being planted just outside of a house. Okay, so it's growing very well, is being shaped very well as well. So you can always plant grapes at home, just plant it like that. Okay. So of course, then I need to explain a little bit more about the experiment. So this is the purpose of this slide. And then what sort of data that I collected, I need to explain to you also, to audience. And then of course, since this first example is about research proposal, so I need to also explain a little bit about the flow of the research, so that then the audience can understand the overall picture about the research. And then of course I need to mention to them how long I need to do the research. And then of course I need to mention to them the milestones and the date, for example, like that. And then of course the budgets, and then of course the references. Okay? And then of course some acknowledgements, and then a thank you one. So of course, not next week, but the week after next week, you need to present your research proposal. And within 5 to 10 minutes. This one is a video, but this one is instruction from previous batch, because we use a video. But for your presentation, we will do it directly online. So you don't need to prepare a video, but you need to present it online. And here is the example. Second example, this is a completed research. Also, I use the same slide, so then you can see the differences. I have uploaded these lecture notes in ITEL, so you can see the difference between these two presentations. Of course, you have the titles, you have also the name and your appellation. Okay, the same thing. Also the sequence. Okay, and then of course, same methodology. Also your plant maintenance, data collections. But this time, you need to present the result and discussion. Okay, all right. So this is the first result, and it is guided by that question: is there potential to grow vigorously? So we go back to this one, so that then it's easier for your audience actually to follow your presentation, because you guide them. So the first question is there potential to grow vigorously. You have the result on the left, you have the discussion on the right. Second question, small question, is there potential to fruit well? The answer, yes. Result on the left, discussion on the right. Is there potential of good yield? Answer, no. Result on the left, discussion on the right. Is the berry growth curve normal? Answer, yes. Result on the left, discussion on the rights. Same thing. Okay. For this one, because I am explaining about the ripening process, so that's why I use a visual explanations. Okay, a visual things, so that then you can see the changes of the colors when the grapes, okay, move from young to mature a stage. The same cluster actually, only maybe the angle changed a little bit, but the same cluster. So you can see that from very green to a little bit like yellowish, then after that it turned to purple, and then of course to very dark purple. Also the question, the answer, and the result on the left, and the discussion on the right. And then on the discussion, you can see that I have cited one reference. And then, of course, this one also, questions and answer. Okay. In grapes, there is a situation of hen and chicken berry problem. Some are big and some are small. The one that you buy in the supermarket actually already being thin. I mean, the small berry, they took it out, they cut it out, okay, already. So, but sometimes it is severe, like on the picture. There are too many of those small berries, and we need to prune it, take it out, or we may use what we call as plants hormones in order for us to encourage the development of the berry to be more or less similar. And of course, guided by the question as well. Then after that, you come into the conclusion. Okay, so look at this slide, you can see the question, the big question, the answer is yes. And then the small conclusion here and there from the research. Okay, references, please those cited in the presentation. Of course, I did not cite from this one, but I let you to do it in your presentation. So oral assignment number 2, completed research presentation. So you need to find a research journal article related to your research proposal that you like and understand well, the journal. Okay? And then you do the presentation later on. This one is an online presentation. This instruction is for a previous batch of students. Okay, is this a formal setup? Yes, of course. I mean, you do the presentation in your dorm, but do not make a mistake like somebody is working behind you, okay, without wearing a t-shirt or something like that. So ensure that your roommate, okay, is not around when you do the presentations. Otherwise, your presentation is not so formal. Okay, so that's all from me actually. Okay, I just going through all the slide. Yeah. Okay, from the introductions. Some student they list down the topics. Okay, for example, after this one, and then they will provide one slide explaining, like for example, okay, the outlines of the presentation, introduction, and blah blah. It's actually it is okay also to use that kind of style, but it depends, because sometimes for me presentation is about sharing. So I'm not going to explain about the outlines of my presentation. It is better that I go through it very systematically, okay, from the introduction and then to a little bit more here. Some student they will say for the introduction, For me, I'm not going to say something like that. I go straight to the point explaining the industry. After all, the audience already see. Okay, they already saw. They see already that the slide is about introduction of the things that I am going to talk to them. So I don't need to mention that this slide is about introduction because you can see over there the words of introductions. Okay, so of course, then these are all still introduction. Okay, and then up to the objectives, and of course within of that one I put here. This is all the introduction. So if you look at the slide, it is okay. The slides are being arranged to bring the audience to this research and the questions, and of course the next one is methodology. So I don't need to mention actually to the audience that for the methodology, I don't need to say like that. I just simply say that in this study, okay, so you have to practice in that way. For example, for introduction, I don't need to say that for introduction, I don't need to say for that one. I may start the presentation by saying we would like to do this kind of research because of the interest, okay, to improve the grape industry in our country, because at the moment we are importing about 334 million worth of grapes. Indirectly also means that we are sending out the money and we did not spin the local economy. Then I move to next slide. Okay. Then another slide. Okay. So that is the sequence. So until to here also. So I just say that in this study we set the experiments to answer these kind of questions. And then for this one, I don't need to mention that some student they start this slide by saying for the methodology, something is a bit like you are distancing yourself from your presentation. So the best way is actually you just say that in this study, what we did is, okay, ataupun what we did, okay. Then you explain from the cuttings, you plant in the poly bags, and then you plant the grapes in a pot, and then you put at the sidewalk of a house. Actually, there are quite few of them. Actually, in this experiment, I put like about 5 of them, and then you just continue. So for today, that's all from me. So I open for questions. I do believe that you may some of you have asked me through WhatsApp about some other things, but today is your chance also to ask this directly. I am still actually accept your question through WhatsApp later on if you would like to ask it. Maybe because that question is specific only to you, so you don't want to ask in a open environment like during the lecture. Okay, if you concerned about this one, then of course I will share the list of presenter according to the day and time. But the easiest is actually we go alphabetically. Okay, so for next week we go from A to Z. So it's easier for you to figure out because in your class you more or less know the name of your classmate. If I go, if I use matrix number, uh, probably you don't remember the matrix numbers of your friend. So I go alphabetically. So you know that if your name is Ainul, means you're most probably that on the top. On the following week, I will also go alphabetically, but okay, on the what we call as one is next week is ascendant, the other week is descendant. So next week we start from A, the following week we start from Z. Okay, so it's fair enough. Okay, so next week those who have a name start with A, you may feel that you have to encounter the hardest part because you are the earlier presenters. But then the following week you will relax a little bit because somebody else will need to start their presentation earlier than you. Okay. So we go alphabetically. Remember that you only need to do the presentation 10 minutes and Q&A will be 5. The student also can ask you, but before the student asks you, before your friend asks you the question, let the friend mention the name so I can take note the name of the person. Whoever asks a question, I will give some small marks. Okay, so those who ask question will also get marks. Of course, I do believe that not everyone will be free to attend that presentation because you may have other things to do also. Since the presentation will be every night, I don't think that quite many will have a time. The presenters on the same session, it is compulsory for you to attend. Let's, for example, between 8 to 10, if we can get like maybe 8 presenters, all those 8 must join the platform before your turn. So available over there. Okay, waiting for the person or second person to finish their presentation. Okay, the other colleagues in the class you can join and you can ask questions. So it's up to you, or maybe you use that time also to prepare your own slides while waiting for the second day of the presentation. In any case that you need to do the presentation on the second day. So that is the process, more or less the process about this presentation. Next week and also the following week, the style will be the same. All right, so you need to practice. It is okay for me to do the presentation a little bit, like maybe taking a little bit more time, or maybe not so smooth, because the evaluation is not really on me, but the evaluation is on you. So this is a challenge for you because your presentation will be evaluated and will be marked. And of course, if you think that you did the presentation poorly, so in the next presentation of your friend, you ask maybe one questions at least. It will compensate the mark that you lost because your presentation is poor. But I will look also at the questions. Some student they may just ask simple like, they just ask how many varieties of grapes can be planted in tropical areas. So that one, there's still a mark, but it's not a full mark of that question. Okay, so because that is a very simple question, but if you ask a question, a very scientific question to the presenters, that will be a thing that we encourage. Okay. Okay. So any question?
Saya ada soalan doktor. Untuk apa tu data collection tu boleh daripada pelbagai artikel ke, macam bukan ke satu artikel saja?
Supposed to be, yes. Supposed to be, because in your, I do believe that this question is related to your research proposal presentation. Yes, because in your data collection you may measure different kind of parameters, and those parameters, okay, I mean the methods to measure the parameters can be found in a different journals. Yes, so you can use many different journals, but you cannot actually also mix them. What I mean is, for growth data, it is good that you use from the same journal that you cite. So maybe only one or two only. There is a tendency that some people, they think that if they use quite many journals, they think that they are wise. Actually, you will make the things very complicated, because every journal will explain the things slightly different. So now the question is if you are measuring the growths from using methods from different journals, my question is which actually the main journal that you use. So you have to mention the main journal and then your secondary journal, because for example, maybe for the growth parameters, for plant heights, for leaves, and maybe branch length, you use methods from journal A. Then maybe for the roots study, you use methods explained in journal B. So for me, if you cite two journals for growth parameters, that's still acceptable. But then if you mention that you growth descendant, but for plant height you use method from journal A, for leaf area you use journal from B, for branch length you use journal from C, that is overdoing. Because I do believe that journal A also will assess the same parameters actually. Okay, so be careful. Too many means you are actually just exaggerated. Too little means also that you are just very simplistic in a way that you don't care that you need at least, maybe because of the methods are different, you need at least maybe two journals as a source of your methodology. But yes, it is allowed to use many journals for every different parameters in your data collections. But still, for me, you still need to use what we call as a main reference and secondary reference. For growths, maybe you have you cite two journals or you use methods from two journals. For yield assessment, also maybe you use maybe from two journals. For chemical analysis, from two more different journals, or maybe three or something like that, because chemical is a little bit more complicated. Sometimes you select that journal because that journal use the same tools and device available in the faculty. That kind of things also need to be considered. Okay, because the journal actually they use the methodology that can be practiced in APL lab, and because of that you use that journal. And of course, this is a little bit tricky because let's say that this journal is an old journal. If it is an old journal, then means that maybe your measurement technique is outdated. It may not so accurate. But then if that is the only method that we can practice in APL, you are a little bit unlucky in that case. So it is also important for you to discuss with your supervisor the selection of that methods. Okay, if the supervisor say that although it is a old technique, but it is still very effective in assessing that parameters, then that will give you the guarantee that you are doing the research precisely and accurately still. So that's why you need to discuss also. But if you suddenly use an old journal, a methodology from old journal, and you did not discuss with your supervisor, and you straight away to do the presentation, then of course you will have a problem when somebody say that, oh, this method is already outdated. But for scientific writing and communication course, I am still not going so detailed into that one, because the important in this course is for you to show that you know how to present your research proposal. So I expect that of course there will be a title. There is some explanation of justification why we need to do this research. I would like to see some argument that lead to the hypothesis of your research, and of course the objectives. So if you look at the slide that I have prepared just now, you can see all those patterns. Then you are more or less fine in your presentation when you use that slides as the guidance to prepare your own slides. Okay, sorry, I explained a little bit more because there are a few things that need to be included in your questions. But the answer is yes. And the idea is similar to the one that I have just explained. Okay, so any other question?
Di chat dokter ada orang menanya. Ada orang tanya tu doktor, kalau title untuk research proposal ni sama juga ke dengan tajuk kami pilih atau artikel, title artikel? Sorry.
Actually, should not be the same.
Maksudnya doktor bukan FYP.
Oh, you mean ini you mean the journal article, Benian?
Yang apa ni? Macam saya tanya kalau research proposal tu tajuk FYP ataupun tajuk title journal tu.
Okay, this one I think the question is not about a presentation. This one is the question is tajuk research proposal boleh ke juga sama dengan tajuk artikel? The answer is yes, but only to certain extent. Remember, the journal article that the short journal article that you are writing actually is the literature review of your research proposal. Okay. So what you can do is you write the research proposal title, and then you put at the end a review. Okay, that's the only way to do it. So it is not really the same, because your journal article that you are going to write is a review associated to your research proposal. So you can do that. You can use the same title. I mean, that is also the title of your research proposal. That is also the title of your research article, the one that you are going to write. But you must put at the end of the title, after the dash, long dash, M dash, we call it M dash, long dash, a review. Okay, so I hope that you can understand it. That is not about presentation, so that is about your title. Yes, you use the same title, but for the journal article, you must put at the end a review, because you are talking about the literature review associated with your research proposal. So you cannot write a journal article based on your research proposal, because your research proposal is supposed to be a new research. So there will be no article that you can write about it except the review part. Okay. Any other questions?
Sorry Doktor, satu lagi.
Hmm.
Penggunaan gambar rajah dari Google yang bukan dari jurnal bolehkah?
Maybe only a picture of fruit or the plants that you use in your research. Okay. If you, for the completed research presentation, the instruction is like this. You select one journal, okay, from the collection of journal that you have, those that related to your research proposal. Okay. You pick that specific journal, that particular journal, because you like it, and you present your completed research presentation based on that journal. So it means I expect that you will use the tables, Raja or Piga from that journal. Okay. But then, of course, in most journal, there will be no picture of the plants. So if you want to put a picture of the plants in your presentation, and by coincidence also that you don't have an original picture of the plants, of course, the only way that you can get a picture of the plants is from Google. And if that is the case, yes, you can use that picture of the plants and then put in your presentation. But then at the bottom of the picture, you need to mention the source. For example, the address of the Google web page where you get the picture, because that is not your that is not the original picture from your own collection. So that is the answer for that questions. But it cannot be that you take a figure or Raja from Google, and that Raja is not related to the article, and that one is not allowed. Or you use table from Google, and it's not related to the journal that you present. Okay. Similarly, also when you write your journal articles, if you read like 20 journals and you use the 20 journals to write your research article, most of the figures will also be coming from the deduction of information from those 20 journals. So it's still original figure, Raja. or you create a new tables summarizing information from those 20 journals. Okay, so your source of information should still from the 20 journals that you have read. Only the picture of the plants, because it's not available in those 20 journal, you can use Google image. Okay. Okay, so that is allowed. But you cannot take big Raja from Google's outside of that 20, because then there is no connection between the 20 papers that you use in the review and the figure from that journal from the Google site. They are totally from a different world. So that is the best way to understand this kind of things. So you write an article, a review article associated with your research proposal. The review article based on 20 journals that you have downloaded and read, and those 20 journals are also relevant to your research proposal. So your review article, the reason that I asked you all to write a review article, because you still need to produce a literature review for your research proposal. So by learning how to write a review paper, you are actually writing the literature review of your research proposal. So in the scientific world, we can actually publish this kind of thing. So some of the examples I already share in the WhatsApp group. Actually, those examples available in ITELS, but some of you asked me a question, and I do believe that maybe your friend missed the the information in ITELS. So that's why I share also the articles in your in the WhatsApp group. All right. So any other questions? Tidak jelas, so what? If not jelas, then you can PM tapi one more time. Okay, maybe not so